The fall of Vienna in 1683 would have changed Europe forever. In our history, the Ottoman siege failed, and the Habsburg frontier survived. But in this alternate timeline, a world of speculation, not history, one breach turns a desperate siege into a continental shock. Image_shorts_1. A lone Ottoman standard-bearer seen from behind on a ridge outside Vienna at sunset, the besieged city distant under smoke and golden light. Emotional atmospheric vertical composition, non-graphic, no readable text, no modern objects, 916. Image_shorts_2. Two robed European and Ottoman scholars seen from behind, walking toward a towering ornate archway of a hybrid Vienna Ottoman palace. Dramatic warm lighting, vertical composition, no readable text, no modern objects, 916. Image_shorts_3. Extreme close-up of a cracked European cobblestone beside a polished Ottoman Iznik-style tile with intricate geometric patterns, warm studio light, tactile historical detail, no readable inscription, vertical macro composition, 916. The question is not simply whether one city could fall. The question is, what happens when the symbolic gate of Central Europe becomes an Ottoman fortress? Would Europe unite faster, fracture deeper, or transform into something neither side expected? Image_shorts_1. A lone Ottoman strategist seen from behind over a candlelit parchment map of Central Europe, gloved hand resting near the symbolic location of Vienna, warm firelight, dramatic vertical composition, no readable text, no modern objects, 916. Image_shorts_2. Two European envoys seen from behind in a dim council chamber, staring at a large table map as Ottoman influence appears to press westward through abstract color, tense atmosphere, candle smoke, vertical cinematic composition, no readable text, 916. Image_shorts_3. Extreme close-up of a brass compass and wax-sealed parchment on a dark wooden table, red territorial shading implied without readable labels, warm candlelight, tactile historical detail, vertical macro composition, no readable text, 916. Imagine a different 1683, where the gates of Vienna do not hold, where the crescent rises over the captured city, and where the balance between Europe and the Ottoman world is rewritten for generations. Image_shorts_1. A lone Janissary standard-bearer seen from behind on a breached section of Vienna's wall at dawn. Smoke drifting over city roofs, crescent banner silhouette with abstract non-readable motif, non-graphic vertical cinematic composition, no readable text, 916. Image_shorts_2. Two exhausted Viennese defenders seen from behind inside a smoke-filled stone passage near the shattered gate, dim firelight, rubble on the ground, tense historical atmosphere, non-graphic vertical composition, no readable text, 916. Image_shorts_3. Extreme close-up of a cracked iron cannonball lodged in splintered wooden gate timbers, ash and dust around the impact, dramatic side lighting, non-graphic historical macro shot, no readable text, 916. The historical Ottoman campaign was already enormous. In the summer of 1683, Grand Vizier Kara Mustafa Pasha led a vast army toward the Habsburg capital. Vienna was not only a city, it was an imperial residence, a Danube strongpoint, and a symbol of resistance on Europe's eastern frontier. Kara Mustafa Pasha's ambition was larger than plunder. A captured Vienna would open the Danube corridor, threaten the Habsburg heartland, and give the Ottoman Empire a forward base from which Central Europe could be pressured for years. Inside Vienna, the defense was desperate. Emperor Leopold I had fled, while the city's defenders, local commanders, imperial troops, militias, and civilians endured siege, bombardment, hunger, and fear. They were waiting for relief, but relief had to arrive before the walls gave way. In our history, the siege was broken on September 12th, when a coalition army led by Jan III Sobieski of Poland and imperial commanders struck the Ottoman lines. The charge of the winged hussars became one of the most famous images of European military memory. But this timeline turns on one earlier failure. A mine detonates with greater force. A gate sector collapses before the relief army can fully coordinate. Exhausted defenders lose the inner rhythm of the defense, and panic spreads faster than command can contain it. Ottoman Janissaries push into the breach. The fighting is chaotic, but the decisive fact is simple. The defenders are forced backward faster than expected. Street by street, the city's military center begins to fail. News of Vienna's fall spreads across Europe before a new anti-Ottoman coalition can fully solidify. Courts that had hesitated now face a nightmare. The question is no longer how to relieve Vienna. It is how to stop an Ottoman bridgehead in the heart of Central Europe. With Vienna secured, the Ottoman victory becomes more than a military success. It shatters the assumption that the Habsburg frontier can hold indefinitely. For the first time, the Ottoman Empire possesses the symbolic gate it had long threatened. The transformation of Vienna does not happen overnight. Ottoman rule begins through garrisons, tax offices, supply depots, negotiated urban arrangements, and selective symbolic changes. Some churches remain. Some spaces are repurposed. The city becomes a guarded frontier capital, not a fantasy of instant replacements. Across Europe, rulers struggle to respond. Dynastic rivalries, confessional distrust, and fear of French opportunism delay unity. The fall of Vienna forces a question that no court can ignore. Can divided Europe survive a permanent Ottoman presence on the Danube? Ottoman pressure deepens through Hungary and the Middle Danube. Some fortresses submit, others resist, and raiding forces disrupt roads into Bavaria and Bohemia. The empire does not simply conquer everything at once. It turns Vienna into a pressure point. The Danube now becomes the spine of the conflict. For the Ottomans, it is a supply corridor and a military artery into Central Europe. For Venice, Poland, and the Habsburgs, every river crossing and fortress becomes part of a wider strategic struggle. This prolonged presence forces Europe into a brutal reckoning. Alliances form not out of trust, but necessity. The old rivalries remain, yet the reality of Vienna under Ottoman control begins to harden a new sense of shared danger. Years pass under the shadow of the Crescent. But resentment grows in occupied lands, and European diplomacy slowly becomes more practical. A new anti-Ottoman league takes shape, later, harsher, and more militarized than the coalition that failed to save Vienna. France complicates everything. Louis XIV sees opportunity in Habsburg weakness, using the crisis to press his own claims in the West. European unity is not born easily. It is forced through fear, betrayal, and the growing realization that the Ottoman bridgehead cannot be ignored forever. Yet Ottoman success brings its own burdens. Garrisoning Vienna, feeding frontier armies, securing roads through Hungary, and suppressing unrest strains the empire's logistics. Distance, weather, and local resistance become enemies as dangerous as armies. In this crucible, a new generation of European commanders rises. A figure like Prince Eugene of Savoy becomes the symbol of adaptation, disciplined logistics, flexible cavalry, coordinated artillery, and a war plan designed not for glory, but survival. The next crisis comes when Ottoman forces push toward Prague. They believe Europe remains divided and exhausted. But this time, the defenders have prepared, and the new league understands that another capital cannot be allowed to fall. Inside the city, defense becomes a civic act. Soldiers, craftsmen, priests, nobles, and townspeople reinforce streets and gates. Every barricade is a statement. Vienna may have fallen, but Europe will not surrender city by city. The new league moves at last. Imperial, Polish, Venetian, German, and other allied forces gather for a counteroffensive. It is not a perfect alliance, but it is enough. The war has become too large for hesitation. The clash is monumental. Cavalry pressure, artillery smoke, infantry squares, and Ottoman field positions collide across a vast battlefield. The violence is terrible in consequence, but the outcome turns on coordination, discipline, and exhaustion. In the decisive moment, the European coalition strikes a weakened flank, while Ottoman command struggles to reinforce overextended lines. A tactical break becomes a psychological one. The army that took Vienna begins to lose the aura of inevitability. The Ottoman retreat is chaotic and costly, not because the empire is finished, but because its Central European project has been wounded. Abandoned guns, wagons, and siege equipment mark the road back from overreach. The victory does not erase the disaster of Vienna's fall. It begins a longer, harder war. Europe now understands that reclaiming lost ground will require finance, administration, military reform, and a shared threat powerful enough to overcome old rivalries. Over the next decades, campaigns grind across the Danube frontier. Vienna is eventually retaken, but not cleanly and not quickly. Occupation leaves marks in law, architecture, memory, and fear. The Ottoman Empire turns inward under pressure. Court politics, janissary tension, Provincial bargaining, fiscal strain, and military reform all intensify. The empire remains formidable, but Vienna has become a lesson in the cost of overextension. Europe changes too. Habsburg institutions become more militarized and centralized. Prussia and Russia grow with greater urgency. The concept of a defensive Europe becomes more politically useful than ever before. Venice does not become master of the Mediterranean, but it commits longer and harder to naval defense. Poland remains a crucial eastern bulwark, though strained by repeated war. The continent's maritime and frontier strategies become more defensive, more expensive, and more urgent. Overseas expansion may slow or shift. European states still look outward, but money, manpower, and political attention are pulled back toward the Danube, the Balkans, and fortress lines. Colonization does not vanish. It develops under heavier continental pressure. Central Europe becomes more culturally entangled. Ottoman garrisons, merchants, administrators, captives, converts, refugees, and artisans leave traces. Some are erased, some are absorbed. Some become part of a contested memory of survival and exchange. Istanbul also changes. The empire that once imagined Vienna as a gateway now faces the need to reform its armies, finances, and provincial administration earlier and under greater pressure. Defeat produces introspection as much as decline. So what if the Ottomans captured Vienna in 1683? The result would not be a simple Ottoman Europe. It would be a longer struggle, deeper cultural contact, stronger military states, and a continent forced to define itself under pressure. The Enlightenment might also sound different, not necessarily less rational, but more intertwined with security, state power, borders, and the fear of collapse. Political thought could grow under the shadow of siege as much as under the promise of liberty. This alternate history reminds us how fragile turning points can be. One mine, one breach, one delayed cavalry charge, one failed message, and the map of Europe might have remembered 1683 very differently. The real Vienna did not fall, but imagining its fall reveals how much of history depends on timing, coordination, fear, and the stories nations tell after survival. Every empire has a story history forgot. This has been Historic's Vault. More are coming. Subscribe so you do not miss the next one.